Hey, this is Mark with All American Health, and as I stated in the title, why you need to focus on the contracts you currently have. So, providing transportation services to individuals in the non-emergency medical transportation industry usually comes with a lot of state contracts. Either you're dealing with health plans or you're dealing with Medicaid oftentimes. And your focus always needs to be on making sure that you're providing a quality service to those contracts that you have. How do you do that and continue to close new opportunities and new deals? There's a couple of ways that you can go about doing that. So the first way, of course, is to continue to expand your vehicles, expand your service area, and really focus on growing your business. And that's a good starting point for a lot of new companies. A lot of companies, when they're first starting out, see these larger companies out there with 10, 15, 20 vehicles providing services all throughout the county, and you aspire to get to that point. In your aspirations, you start missing clients because you're constantly trying to grow. And your original contracts start falling off because you're forgetting about the previous contract because you're worried about the next one. That's a big mistake in this industry. What you want to do is make sure you have the resources to satisfy the original contract. And if you're paying attention to this page, this channel at all, you know for a fact we're all about private pay clients. B2B and B2C customers, nothing inside of your Medicaid contracts. But what I'm finding in a lot of my consulting sessions is that a lot of you have Medicaid or broker contracts. And as a result of having those Medicaid and broker contracts, you're obligated to provide services a lot of times throughout the entire county, which many of you don't have the resources for. As I've told you before, you're probably receiving a 10 to 12% margin in your NEMT broker contracted services, whereas the private market, your margin is likely double, if not triple that. So your level of ability to get things done slows down because your actual income versus your revenue is a lot smaller. If you're doing 10 grand a week, you're only keeping $1,000 to $50, maybe $2,000 a week. If you're doing smaller numbers than that, then you're keeping even less. Everything else is going right back out to run your company. So how do you do that? The first thing and the first suggestion I would make to you is, one, cut in half your county. Well, Marcus, I have to go all over the county picking up clients for my contractor, or I'm going to find myself out of favor with that company, and I'm going to lose that income. Remember, if you're having to travel the opposite side of the county, going one side of the county to the next, that's gas, resources, time, wear and tear on the vehicle that you're losing out on, that you're not being compensated for anyway. So you're cutting that in half, which means you're cutting your expenses in half. Now you're just focusing on one half of the county. If all you're responsible for is one half of the county, I'd say at least a third of those employees go out the window, at least in the short term. A third of your gas goes out the window in the short term. A third of the wear and tear on your vehicles go out the window in the short term. So you actually just save yourself some money because you're not having to go all over the place providing services. So what would be the next step? While you're cutting your county in half, the county that you are providing services in, you're doing B2B relationships, building those relationships, building B2C relationships with the community, getting out into the community, providing services. So that half of the county you're providing services to, they see your vehicles all the time. You see, what you have to remember is a lot of those large companies, just because you have 10, 15 vehicles available doesn't mean you're using all of them. They're likely on a schedule. 7 of them are on the road Monday through Thursday. Thursday, those 7 come off the road. They may put another 7 to 10 on the road on the weekends because it's busier on the weekends than during the week. They're not running all of those vehicles. You just see them in focused areas because those are the areas that you provide services in as well. So you have to learn and understand how to provide a service inside of the NEMT industry that gives you an ability to grow and to prosper. Cut out the extra 1 or 2 trips on the opposite side of town that you're providing services to. Or if you're receiving additional compensation for those trips, cut out some of those small trips that you're not making any real money providing services on. Keep in mind, your job is to stay focused on growth. It's not to stay focused on providing services all over the place so that another company can grow. That broker is using you, the provider, to make themselves look good so they can obtain additional contracts in the future. Is that going to trickle down to you? I doubt it, because they're taking advantage of all the resources you have right now. So as soon as you start telling them no, guess what? They're going to stop sending you trips. So while they continue to grow at a margin that's reasonable for them, 20 to 30%, you're going to stay stagnant at your 10% growth margin, which again, if you're receiving 25 to 30% margin, you're growing 2 to 3 times faster. So say you went from having 1 vehicle in your first year to having 3 vehicles in your second year, but you're doing a 10% margin. If you were receiving that 30% margin, you'd have 5 to 6 vehicles available to you right now and providing services. So you want to keep that in mind. If you're not taking time to break down to see how much you're actually making, you don't know if you're growing or not. You actually don't know if you're actually making money. So you want to take a step back and see what's going on with your company and understand, hey, with growth, comes return. Hopefully this has been helpful. You guys take care.